Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video we are going to start another saga, and this one we are going to cover the I/O and new I/O packages of Java. Well, let's create a new package for this new journey. Right click, package, vio.test. Let's start with something very simple, something that we already know how to work, the file class. We did a little we used a little bit when we were talking about check exceptions, but here we are going to see a couple more methods that can be useful when we are working with files. So as you know, to work with file, we need a object that's file from package.java.io that is in Java since the beginning. And you can imagine that we do have classes that are, let's say, better for working with files, but it does the job. So when creating a new file, you have to send here the path name. So the path name can be two things. One, the file name, for example, file.txt. This is a string. And the second one can be the absolute path. So for example, let's say that I would like to save the file inside this folder. I can copy the absolute path and I can add it here. Now, just be careful because you have to, especially for Windows users, if you are adding a path to a string, remember to use the escape character for the backslash. And at the end, you also have to add the file. But I want to create inside my root directory of my project, so I just have to use file.txt. Now, if you execute this code, you won't see any files created because you have to call the create new file to have a file created. This is going to return a boolean, and as you know from previous videos, we have to either throw the exception or surround with try catch. I'm going to surround with try catch, and I will print here is created, Ctrl Shift F10, and you can see that the file.txt was created at the end of my project. So pretty straightforward. Creating files is not very difficult, but there are some other useful methods inside the file class. For example, let's say that you would like to check if the file exists. By the way, if you create again or if you execute again, it will not be created. So Java will check through file.exists if that file exists. So if the file exists, it will not create another one over it and replacing it. And since we are using the exists, we can check here, for example, if exists, you can delete, of course, file.delete. So delete will return a boolean, and it will not throw exception if the file is already deleted. So I would just duplicate this, so you'll see that it will not throw any exception. So it's deleted, Ctrl Shift F10. So it does not throw any exception if the file is already deleted. Okay, so now that we know about exist is created and delete, there are some useful ones. For example, I will just create inside the south here. Let's say that you want to get the path. Now we have to be careful because we have two things inside the file. We have path file dot get path. This get path is going to return the path name you passed when creating the object. Ctrl Shift F10. And you have absolute path. Absolute path will return where this file is located in your operating system. So this is the absolute path. That, by the way, is exactly the same as when you click copy path, you have the absolute path. Apart from these ones, you have also to check, have ability to check if it is file and if it is, for example, directory. and the names already said everything. Is file, is directory, and there is another interesting one. If this is hidden, it has access to hidden files as well. So it's a file, is not a directory, and it's not hidden. So you can use other ones. For example, you have can read, can write, can execute, all those permissions. Very useful if you are Linux users. But there is one, for example, that can be useful, especially for us that we already learned how to work with date. That is the last modified. So file.last modified. This is going to return a long representing the milliseconds from 1970, and you know how to get the date from this. You can either use date or you can be someone living in 2021 and use instant of epoch millisecond, and you pass this. Now, you have to be careful because when you are using the instant, remember, it works with Zulu time. This does not represent actually, it represents the time that it was changed, the last modified, but well, it represents in Zulu time. And I want it in my Amsterdam Berlin time. So we can have add zone and zone ID system default. Zone ID system default. Control Shift F10. And now we have a little bit more useful information. So this is everything that I want to tell you. The file class is pretty straightforward, but we do have a lot more classes to talk about in the I/O and new I/O topic. So let's continue in the next video. Have a good day and see you later. Bye.